Thank you very much for such a kind introduction. The song Man of the Tombs, I want to tell you a little bit about it before I sing it. And this is not always an introduction I give. It's not that I have anything to hide, but if I go on too long, it's like you'll eventually look at your watch and say, hey pal, get to the song, okay? But to make a long story long, many years ago I was going through a divorce. And you know, a lot of people talk about divorce as if like they caught the flu, like it happened to them, like they couldn't help it. But you know that when a marriage breaks up, everybody plays their part. Everybody has their own hammer in hand and starts busting stuff up, and everybody's got their own culpability, shall we say. And at the time, I was living apart from my wife and my children, hoping that there might be reconciliation, that ultimately never came. But the church that I was attending at the time, there was an apartment building next door to the church. And they had purchased that apartment building, relocated all the residents, and they were going to retrofit those apartments into Sunday school rooms. But they hadn't done it yet. And I needed a place to stay. And somebody on staff at the church that knew me and knew my circumstances said, Bob, you know, there's literally like hot water and electricity, and that's it. Other than that, it's an empty apartment. But you're welcome to come here and stay. So I packed up a pillow and a sleeping bag and a duffel bag full of clothes and my guitar and a lamp, and I packed it all in my car and I went to this apartment to stay. And you know, when you're going through this sort of stuff, you're all over the map, you know. And I did that. You may have done this a time or two in your life. I played Bible roulette. I opened up the Bible, just anything. I need something. I gotta have something here, Lord. Give me something. Well, I happened upon the Man of the Tombs story in the Gospels. And I read about the Gadarene demoniac, and I read his story. And, you know, when you're alone, you can kind of say whatever you want without getting in trouble. And I read this story, and I just blurted out loud, oh my God, this is me. And what struck me that had never struck me before, I think I'd watched The Exorcist one too many times or something, because I was always taken by the drama of the story, the deliverance, the whole way it played out. But what I didn't quite understand is that this man was a real human being. This man was capable of monstrous behavior. He was actually feared and avoided by almost everybody. And he was destructive and suspicious of everyone. And he also was quite destructive to himself at a certain point. And I thought, well, you know, to the best of my knowledge, I've never been demon-possessed, but boy, do I know what it feels like to do damage. You know, it's a terrible thing when you have a page in your life where somebody's biggest hurts and wounds have your picture next to them. This is no fun at all. But I read the story and I thought, I need to write this song. I need to write this man's story, because in so doing, I knew that I was writing part of my own story. So this is a song that came from that. I'm going to do it all over. I got emotional last night. I'm going to do it all over again. He's standing over there. I can't look at him. I'll bust out crying again. So, this is Man of the Tombs. He lives in a place where no one goes, and he tears at himself and lives with a pain that no one knows. He counts himself dead among the living. He knows no mercy and no forgiving. Deep in the night, he's written to cry out loud. Can you hear him cry out loud? Man of the tombs, possessed by an unseen enemy, he breaks every chain, mistakes his freedom for being free. Shame and shamelessness equally there, like a random toss of a coin in the air. Man of the tombs, he's driven to cry out loud underneath this thing that I've become, a fading memory of flesh and blood. I curse the womb, I bless the grave. I've lost my heart, I cannot be saved. Like those who fear me, I'm afraid. Like those I've hurt, I can feel pain. Naked now before my sin, and these stones that cut against my skin. Some try to touch me, but no one can. Man of the tombs, I am. Down at the shoreline, two sets of footprints meet. One voice is screaming, other voice begins to speak. In only a moment and only a word, the evil departs like a thundering herd. Man of the tombs, he hears this cry out loud underneath this thing that you become. I see a man of flesh and blood. I give you life beyond the grave. I heal your heart, I come to save. No need to fear, be not afraid. This man of sorrows knows your pain. I come to take away your sin and bear its marks upon my skin. When no one can touch you, still I can. For Son of God, I am. Dressed now and seated, clean in spirit and healthy of mind, man of the tombs, it begs to follow, must stay behind. He'll return to his family with stories to tell, of mercy and madness, heaven and hell. Man of the tombs, soon he will cry out loud underneath this thing that I once was. Now I'm a man of flesh and blood. I have a life beyond the grave. I found my heart, I can now be saved. No need to fear, I am not afraid. This man of sorrows took my pain. He comes to take away our sin and bear its marks upon him.